I definitely want to dive into Havana Syndrome. There was that recent movie that was funded by the Obamas called Leave the World Behind. And I don't, spoiler alert, but like the kid in that movie wakes up and his teeth are falling out. It's a really disturbing part of the movie. But they basically imply that's in my opinion, a directed energy weapon. And, later it's like, oh, he's going to be okay. But it's quite shocking. And I think some of those symptoms were what happened with some of the people in Havana. I definitely want to get to that because I think it's really interesting. But just to maybe finish with Antarctica, what did you end up concluding was down there, and how could something like that cause an earthquake? And then how could you conclude that?
Well, in addition to the ELF system, I did also see out of a facility called ARO, the Atmospheric Research Observatory. I did see a very suspicious green laser beam fire out of there. There's things to consider for that as yet another directed energy weapons platform present at the site. The earthquake generating device is referred to as the Ice Cube Neutrino Detector. And I mean, quite simply put, again, people can do the research. These weapons exist. The science is privy to everybody out there. And basically, it's easy to generate an earthquake if you can deliver energy from the source, like South Pole Station, to where you want the energy to discharge. Fault lines, as an example, they're already in distress. They're already trying to relieve pressure to discharge energy. That is what an earthquake is. So if we can just simply deliver, let's just say, the straw that breaks the camel's back, it's very easy to make an earthquake. This is, again, what people need to realize is, it's complex, I guess, insofar as building it, but the principles behind it are rather simple. People just don't realize that Nikola Tesla was right, and you can deliver energy wirelessly. So these are more or less just advancements in Tesla technology that the public has not been privy to utilizing, but the secret factions of many nations have been using them for decades.
And you mentioned Ice Cube Neutrino. I mean, there's studies down there, or purported studies that I'm aware of in Antarctica, where they do use those huge sheets of ice to detect neutrinos that come through the atmosphere, right? That only need these huge masses. Are they purporting that it's for one use when it's in fact for something else? Or are
Absolutely.
those? Okay. All right. So
yeah, that's exactly.
They're doing both, or they're not actually doing one, but it's a great cover for, say, a weapon system.
Precisely.
Okay. While we're on the subject, tell me a little bit about Raytheon, because we're hearing more and more conversations about this military industrial complex. Obviously, a famous speech that was made, I think was in the 50s, or when Truman was leaving office, I'm sure it was. But lately, more and more of my guests that are coming on, Eric, are talking about this. I had a guy on about 4 months ago, and he said, Brian, do you know the city with the most millionaires in it? And my first thought was, I don't know, maybe it's Silicon Valley, then maybe I heard Tehran has a lot of oil wealth, maybe it's Dubai. And it's Washington, D.C., because you have all the Beltway bandits that are lobbying and shoving defense systems down people's throats. And it's a pool of dirty money. Now, Eric Prince is just on Tucker Carlson, former Blackwater, and he's basically confirming the same thing. And we've seen these 60 billion and another 60 billion going to Ukraine. And I recently had, I think it was Jim Rickards on, that basically said, yeah, most of that is going to go right back into the reelection campaigns of, the members of Congress. I mean, they're shocking statements, but it feels like more and more people are waking up to the fact that that's what's going on here. Your thoughts? Do you believe that's what's going on? And is Raytheon one of the key members of that complex?
I absolutely agree that is precisely what's going on between, working at the South Pole Station, other research facilities, other, I guess you would say, heavily subsidized industries. The government absolutely has their hands in stuff, and it is that circle of money, like you mentioned, that they're all just kind of taking care of each other at the taxpayer's expense. And as far as Raytheon is concerned, I believe they are the devil incarnate in corporate form.
Are they kind of that number one defense contractor, or the few other names that kind of come to mind?
Lockheed Martin's up there. If you look at the size of these companies and what they generate, I guess officially that would be indicative of who's the largest devil. And I guess technically Lockheed Martin makes more money than Raytheon, but is, I guess, less destructive. Raytheon seems to be very involved with weaponry. Okay. Most folks don't pay attention to that. They have a Lowrance on their boat or a fish finder on their boat, and it says Raytheon on it. Well, I mean, technically, it's a targeting system. It targets fish. But the vast majority of Raytheon's money is generated from targeting human beings on our planet. They kill people for a living.
Yeah, and we have our equivalents here in the UK, like BAE Systems, et cetera. I think it was Robert Kiyosaki or Jim Rickards that had me on recently, and it talked about kind of the U.S. versus China. And of course, the U.S. narrative is that China is the oppressive one, and they're the one that watch their people and censor things and surveil, and a lot of that's true. But when they deal with other countries, they have their Belt and Road Initiative, which we look at suspiciously and say, yeah, but they're giving you these things, but you know what you're going to give them in return. But the response from a lot of these countries is, yeah, but all you try to do is sell us weapons. That's like all the U.S. tries to do is shove weapons down our throat and also try to tell us how to run our countries. And it feels, I think it was Colonel Douglas McGregor that said, look, this is like a hangover from the 40s and 50s and 60s when the U.S. had that kind of juice and dominance. And he said it's really getting old for these countries, and it's playing out. And it's no longer an effective weapon. And these people are really going more towards build our infrastructure. Don't just give us a bunch of things where we can maybe kill some people or just pay you. Do you think that use of arms kind of as a way to control things, do you think that is maybe playing out when it comes to U.S. projecting dominance?
Absolutely. And I think it's been going on even longer than you just suggested. Prior to World War II, there was a gentleman by the name of Major General Smedley Butler, and he basically wrote a book about all the corruption in the military and the U.S. government. And he just said that, all wars are bankers' wars, and he was working for a racket, that he felt that he was, this illegal police force running around the planet. And he was a highly decorated military person. And he's, most people don't realize this, but Major General Smedley Butler blocked the only known coup to ever occur in the United States. The military-industrial complex tried to go to him to get him to play along with the coup of the American government. And he played along for a little bit, just well enough to catch everybody in a net of who the guilty parties were. And then he turned on them and stopped the coup. And nothing happened to those parties, by the way. The coup was stopped, but nobody was prosecuted, which speaks volumes.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's also been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just in overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you gotta pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.